good luck, Alastair. Alright, so we always begin in World 1 in front of Titan Castle. We see that our first job is the Hunter. Able to equip bows. Learning... the first ability we learn isn't really useful. What we learn from the Hunter though is equip bow, which means we can get another job to be able to equip bows, which is extremely useful on like the Berserker. We also learn X-Fight if you master the Hunter. And X-Fight is extremely useful. It's 4 attacks with no accuracy check. It combines really well with the Chicken Knife, bypassing its running away proc. It combines well with the Spellblade. And we see that we got a free pair of running shoes. Equipping the running shoes will make your character permanently enhanced status. That's extremely useful. We get a few chunk of money, and Enhancer is another good equipment to get. It's the most powerful sword the Mystic Knight can equip. Tornacanol is Path to the Vault. So, what is Path to the Vault? This means this location is required. So either it has anti-bio bracelet or a tablet, or another dragon leading to these items. So it's required, we have to go there. Tornacanol is like the second location we check usually. It's the second boss in the game. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the link to my spreadsheet where I will be tracking the hints. There are also a few other pieces of info.
Alright, well.
Like some mixed combinations. Oh, the dancer! Okay, that's one of my favorite jobs. What does the dancer do? It dances. And we get a stamina. Wow.
Jeez, the scene is being super generous so far.
Yeah, so dancer is one of the best physical damage dealer. When you do dance, it randomly does one of the 4 dances. If it's so dense, your damage is multiplied by 8.
Actually, no, I'm just gonna walk out.
So Chicken Knife dancing often yields quad 9. If you get one of the dancer gears, so Lamia's Tiara, Rainbow Dress, or Red Shoes, Sword Dance is 50% instead of 25%. Summoner is extremely useful. Some summons deal a lot of damage or are just really useful for status like Shout Petrifies, Odin instantly kills non-heavy targets, and so on.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna show something silly.
Yeah, if you are not a beginner, well, right, get out of the beginner's house. Summoner can also equip rods, so if we are kinda blocked by boss, we can break rods. If we find rods. Alright, we are out of the beginner's house. There are still a few more checks to do. There are 4 shops in total. There's Equip Sword. This can be useful on the Dancer if we find powerful swords. We still haven't found... Oh, Javelins for sale. It's just a ninja and you can throw items. Javelins have a bonus damage when throwing. And they're for sale at 100 guild. So it's powerful.
Yeah, the Javelin is equivalent in power to the Shuriken. But I think I cut out the end, but Shuriken powers the Shuriken.
It's also worth noting that softs are inside the tool. Softs are the item that unpetrifies you. It's comparable to the Golden Needle in other FF games.
Yeah, Conjure's not worth
Magic
it.
Sword 2, which we can combine with Mute Sword that we saw earlier. This means that, well, we can just put any target to mute, which is with 100% rate, which is extremely useful if you find a certain rogue stealer. Okay, fourth tablet is in World 1. Which means tablet number 4 can be found anywhere in World 1. We don't know where specifically, we just know the general location. It's in World 1. Mute Sword and Sleep Sword early, that's great to find. Okay, now we are going to loot Surgate Castle. There are many shops here. The shops
Yeah,
on
you
the
know what?
right,
Why not?
which are the item shops and magic shops, are shared across World 2.
Oh, no, don't.
We also find Golden Knights. That's great when using Spellblade, because those will never miss, basically. Yes, I am talking right now, so if you still cannot hear me, that's going to be a problem.
No, I got somewhere, might as well buy.
Hello? No?
I'm getting it on Knight, because I don't have
We
the...
find the Knight. The Knight is a powerful damage dealer as well as a good tank. Being able to equip the best armor, the best shields, and the best swords.
No, no, don't.
Really? Okay, I seem to have a lot of audio issues.
Nope, cat. It's weird, because in my ears, you're actually fairly loud.
Alright. So shops here were really good. Knowing that some of them, like the Knight, we can basically go anywhere in World 2 to buy the Knight. Except more.
Okay, that
We
was the
also
dual
find
wield.
two-handed. That's an ability that makes you able to wield two weapons. You normally learn that by mastering the ninja. And it basically means you can play Final Fantasy 3, because in FF3 all characters are natively two-handed. Mirage Radar is in World 2. So Mirage Radar can be required or not. Generally it's still useful because it gives us 2 additional hints as well as really high tier shops.
Okay.
And we find mix. Okay, that's the chemist ability that allows you to combine 2 items for random effects, which are not really random. Alastair,
Yeah.
I've been told you would need to mute on OBS.
Okay, let me fix.
And not on Discord. Otherwise, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? Okay, so we get to Kuza. We have Bahamut available, that's great. We do have the summoner. Mimic Job, X Magic. What is this? X Magic, we can combine it with Summoner. Core Ring, Ward Ring, those are nice equipments, but not necessarily the best we can get in. Oh, okay. Sage Staff, that's another great thing to have. Black 6 as well, being able to use all black magic spells. Yeah, we probably pick Black 6. We did find a few black magic spells of level 5. We can still find Break, maybe, or Doom. Okay, so basically Bahamut, X-Magic and Black 6. We can make a really powerful mage-based party with Summoner, equipping Black 6 or X-Magic. Hell, later when we get back we can get a Mimic, have both Summon 5 and Black 6 and X-Magic. And we find some really good spells here, so Break Blade means you will 100% petrify enemies that can be petrified. That's great. We just need Spellblade level 5. Catapult is Path to the Void. So the Catapult is another World 1 location that we will be able to explore later. That's awesome. Okay, so here is Move Village. We will be safe scumming this check. You can only pick left or right. That's where you get the Brief Blade or Chicken Knife in the vanilla game. Reset that. This happens. So yeah, since we do have the Summoner, we will be using Summoner to summon and just learn Summon 5 with time. So we don't need to find Summon 4. We just reset and see what's on the right. And I cannot see what it is. Ship Graveyard has a key. I couldn't see what key it was. Was it Steamship? Yeah, okay, Steamship key, alright. Yeah, sorry, because the Discord screen sharing cut, so I couldn't be able to see. Okay, Ship Graveyard, Steamship key. Okay. So we don't know if Steamship key is required or not. We just know that the Ship Graveyard, where we fight Siren in the vanilla game, will give us the Steamship key. The Steamship key opens the Steamship, which is near Karnak. And this actually unlocks 2 checks. The Steamship itself, and finishing the Steamship will also unlock the Karnak Castle escape sequence, which has a lot of monster in the box chests, which means normally good equipment, but also the Iron Claw spot, so the second boss fight. This key item is worth 2 checks. As Lily is mentioning on the chat, we did find Control earlier. We can use Control to farm money and dark matters by fighting a normal encounter called Prototype in World 1. We can get a decent amount of money and dark matters. Dark matters are important. We do have the mix ability. If you mix a dark matter with an item, you will basically do the reverse of that item. So if you mix a dark matter with a Phoenix Down, this will give a death potion, which will instantly kill any monster that is vulnerable to death. So Alastair is going to set up his first party for the first boss. So we can have maybe Lord Batsy. If you have anything to say, that's a good moment during the menuing and exploration of the first dungeon.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have any new donations yet, but I was wondering what determines which jobs you get. Are they completely random? Do you get one from each crystal? Like, what does the randomizer do?
Well, we did get Summoner early with Dancer early, so yeah. So we can get any job anywhere in chest, boss checks that don't give key items, in shops as well. We can also find job abilities. That's something I didn't mention. Um, like, normally you get abilities by mastering jobs. Like, when you win a fight, you get ability points. With enough AP, you get job levels and you learn new abilities. In the randomizer, you can also find abilities like in chests or in shops. You can buy them. Um, and Melusine went down quickly. So Melusine is the boss that can change her elemental affinity, but she will always start with um, fire weakness. So on the first spot, she only has 150 HP. One cast of Ifrit or Fire 2 or Fire 3 will be enough. And we get the bracelet. That's half of the items we need to access X-Death in his castle. Along with 6 additional checks here with the crystal shards. We didn't really get anything useful though. Maybe Berserk, which we can combine a hunter with Berserk. Only if we find a good bow though. Just after Wintrine, we tend to go to Lix, which is a town really nearby. This is the hometown of Bots, the main character. We get fire rods. So equipping those rods will increase your fire damage, but you can also use it as an item. If you do so, it will cast Fire 3, but it will break the rod. That's what we call breaking rods when you are kind of blocked against a boss and you need to do a lot of damage. You break a rod. The monk. Do you want a monk? So, the monk is the physical class that fights bare-handed, and it doesn't really give much. Like, it's not really a good job in this game. You don't deal much damage, especially in the early game, as bare-hand damage is tied to level. And the abilities you learn with the monk aren't really good. Like, you learn kick, which is damaging all targets with low damage. You learn HP bonuses that are progressive, and then you also learn Brawl, which can be useful, but we just want to find it in shop or in chest. Which we did. We saw Brawl in shop and we didn't even buy it. So that's Gilgamesh 1, not heavy, vulnerable to death, generally weak, and will run away as soon as you hit a certain HP threshold. Easy boss gives a required item because it was Path to the Void. The only downside is that Gilgamesh 1 will not give you any XP or AP because he runs away. What's unfortunate is that Tornacunnel was hinted Path to the Void, and Tablet 4 was hinted in World 1, so it's basically a duped hint. We used 2 hints, basically. X-Zone, that's a time magic spell, level 6, that will instantly kill a target that is not heavy. Kinda like Odin, but single target. Will also rarely proc like enemies will dodge it more easily than Doom, for instance. On the contrary, Odin is always 100% guaranteed if all targets are not heavy. It's just that sometimes Odin will cast Gungnir instead. Oh, okay. Hello, Twin Tanya. So Twin Tanya is normally the boss you fight at the end of the void. So here, we will try to brute force it, kill it before it does any AoE damage, because Twin Tanya can do a lot of damage. You have two ways of beating Twin Tanya. You either brute force and kill it, or you wait until its last phase, and when it says charging for Giga Flare, Twin Tanya loses all form of immunities, and then you can petrify, instantly kill, etc. So, as hinted, we get the steamship key. Yes. The heavy status is basically the boss bit, except that not all bosses are heavy. Some bosses are not heavy, which makes them way easier in the randomizer. Like Odin will instantly kill, you can kill with X Zone. Oh, another thing is if the boss is not heavy and has an elemental weakness, Spellblade with the level 3 spell will instantly kill as well. For instance, Liquid Flame is not heavy except on his hand form. You can instantly kill it with Ice 3 Sword. We see Equip Ribbon, that's something we get from mastering the Dancer, and it allows you to equip the ribbon. It actually also allows you to equip all the gears that are normally only for the Dancer, so the Man-Eater Knife, the Rainbow Dress, and the Red Shoes. Because yes, in this game, only the Dancer, and by extension the Freelancer, can equip the ribbon. And now we will probably just go to North Mountain. That's another easy Ward 1 check that we usually do at the beginning of the seed. We find Antidote. That's perfect because the rest of this dungeon is basically there are poison flowers. If you walk on them, you get poisoned. And a way to get rid of poison is to either use the Antidote item or the Antidote spell. Or use a tent on the safe point. Or you can just dodge the flowers. Alright, so this is Megisa. And in the randomizer here it's Sergeant. So the Sergeant fight is basically Iron Claw before its transformation. If you kill all the wolves, he will transform. So if you know the traditional incentive on the Super Metroid runs, like save the animals, kill the animals, we can do the same thing here. You can either kill Iron Claw directly, and then the wolves will run away, or you can kill the wolves and see Iron Claw transform. You can save the animals or kill the animals. And this gave us nothing, unfortunately. For a bit of trivia, there's also a bingo for character randomizer, and the duality between killing the animal and saving the animal is actually in the bingo. And there is a way to achieve both. at the same time, which involves using the Time Mage reset spell, but that's something else. So we see cabins and high drops for sale. What the cabins do, there are upgraded versions of the tents. Using a tent in the world map or on a save point will restore like 100 HP and 1000 HP and 100 MP. Using a cabin will restore all. So it's basically upgraded versions of the tents. Thief and Geomancer, we don't really like those jobs, and we already have better anyway. Flame Scrolls. So the scrolls are items the ninja can throw in order to deal AoE elemental damage. There are Fire Scrolls, Thunder Scrolls, and Water Scrolls. And do not underestimate this, as the ninja actually has a high magic state. The magic stat is actually really good. Alright, another hint coming up. Adamantite is in World 3. So the Adamantite is a key item that unlocks Flying Lunka runes. And in this case, it's located in World 3. We do not know if it's required or not. We are looting the rest of Wolf's Castle. We find a black suit. That's basically the best magic equipment. White robes and black robes are the best magic equipment with highest magic defense. Also able to give you a few magic points as well for the black robe. And that's great because we do have a summoner. And this is Odin. Odin can be dangerous sometimes, but here the HP... His HP are not really high, so we can kill Odin before we get a single Reaper Sword. Yeah. Otherwise, a thing you can do about Odin is that he is vulnerable to petrification. Break will almost never proc, because Odin has a high magic evade. But if you have Break Blade, that's another story. Break Blade, if your hit lands, it will always petrify. So Odin can be cheesed this way. We get Moogle Suit. So the Moogle Suit is a key item that does not unlock any boss check. It only rewards you with more chests, which gives you more equipment. It's basically just a useless equipment reward. Before, it used to be really high tier rewards as well, but since the last update, the tier got lowered a little. So for instance, it's not as high as Mirage Village, for instance. There's also an NPC that will hint the weaknesses of Shinryu, one of the two super bosses. Because yes, Career Day will also randomize the resistance and weaknesses of Omega and Shinryu. That's something we almost never mention, something we almost never see anyway. But yeah, and that's something that exists purely for bingo purposes, because you can have a bingo spell telling you to beat Shinryu or Omega, and that's never fun. The gargoyles, you need to defeat both in the same turn, or else they will resurrect each other. They can actually be petrified as well. And we are rewarded with the trench page. So Alastair is immediately going to cash in on the Moogle suit. First, you need to get the Moogle suit on. Then you unlock a chest here by talking to Moogle. If you don't talk to Moogle, the chest will be locked. Holy, that's the best white magic spell. I don't know if we can actually use it. Tempest Sword is a katana that has a really high crit rate. Unfortunately, we cannot equip any katana in yet, as we do not have the samurai or freelancer or the equipped katana ability. We also found a light staff. That's basically the same as the elemental rods. If you use the light staff as an item, you will cast Holy, but the staff will break. That's mainly useful for X-Death, as X-Death is weak to Holy. And here is Atomos. That's a bit annoying. Atomos' gimmick is that it will open with Comet, and will keep doing that until at least one of your characters is dead. Then it will not do anything, and over time it will... sorry. Oh, yes, sorry, I was interrupted. So once one of your characters is downed, Atomos will try to suck it. And if the character reaches Atomos, it basically disappears. So we do want to keep a character downed. That's kinda not good to have the hasted character down with a range shield and having all other characters being slowed. But hey, Artemis is beaten. It's like 5000 HP on this spot. Alright, we did find a second tablet, so we are going to loot Koza again. There were good equipment there. We saw the Mimic, for instance. We will probably get that for a better setup. The deal with the Mimic is that instead of being able to equip one ability slot, you can equip 3 abilities, and the fourth command is always Mimic. That's because the Mimic allows you to customize further and not pick the attack command or the item command. With that, you are allowed to get a lot of broken combinations like X magic with summon and black magic, for instance. I believe that's what Alastair is looking for here, since we mastered a summoner. We got summon 5. And we are now going to check in the library. Library is going to give us one additional hint. Sandworm bait is in World 1. So the sandworm bait is, as its name implies, a key item that opens the sandworm spot, which is the desert of shifting sand. That's the check right outside of the library here. Which obviously is not where the sandworm is going to be. Maybe, but I don't think so. We see Kaiser Claws for sale. Those are expensive, but they give you a lot of strength bonus points. That's great if you are using a physical damage dealer like the Dancer. Okay, we find a few more scrolls in case we find a ninja. We haven't seen the ninja though. And another hint. Bal Castle is Path to the Void. Okay. So here's the deal with Bal Castle. It can be one of two locations. Bal Castle in World 2 is where you fight the Abductor. However, it can also reference Bal Castle basement in World 3, accessible through the Jackal runes. That's where you fight Odin in Vanilla. So one of these two is Path to the Void, and we don't know exactly which one. That's what can spice this hint up. Okay, so now Alastair is exploring the catapult. That's a really quick dungeon. Not even a dungeon, actually. That's where you get the airship in the middle game. And we are going to fight the boss that is randomized here instead of Preklo. We know it is Path to the Void, so we know we will get an item here that's going to be required. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, as soon as your summoner hits job level 5, you learn Summon 5, which allows you to summon all summon spells. We then switch to Mimic, Equip Black Magic, Summon, and X Magic. X Magic allows you to use 2 spells in the same turn. It normally only gives you the Black and White Magic level 3, as you learn it by mastering the Red Mage. But if you combine it with another magic ability, like we did so here, those spells are added to the list in X Magic, so we are able to dual cast Black Magic and Summon Magic here. And oh boy, do we not like this boss. Stalker is annoying because it's basically the whack-a-mole boss. You hit it once and then it will switch around between the 4 sprites. There's only one boss, cycling through all of them. If you use AoE attacks, you will trigger a special counter from Stalker, so you don't want that. It would counter with Blaze on every character 4 times. This will kill us. So instead, we are relying on single targets and physical attacks. Knowing that if we had a full magical party, we could also use Mimic strats, as mimicking a spell does not consume any MP. Unfortunately, if we mimic with this party, the mimic will just imitate the archer's attacks. If you defend with a character to skip his turn, the mimic will also mimic the defend command. Contrary to Pixel Remaster, where you can skip character turns by pressing square instead of having to defend every time. Alright, Stalker is defeated. What do we get? We know it's required, but what do we get? Second tablet. So we directly get a tablet. That's the end of the hint line. It could have been another key item unlocking another location, but instead it's directly a tablet. We find the Revivifies here. So the Revivifies, also known as Holy Water, is what cures the zombie status. And that's important to have, as the ribbon does not protect against zombie. The Revivify is also a really important item to mix. Most of the useful mixed combinations are obtained with the Revivify, like combining it with an antidote adds 10 levels to the target. Combine it with a Phoenix Down, Life Cord prevents any form of insta-kill. Combine it with an eye drop, it increases your elemental damage. Combine it with a Turtle Shell, you get Bacchus Vine, which will berserk your target. So yeah, Revivifies are great items to find for sale. We are exploring Jackal. That's a town that we almost never explore. That's because there are only 2 randomized shops here. We generally don't go there, but sometimes you have to because the shops have something you want. So by doing Catapult, we also unlocked the Lanka Meteor. That's the 4th meteor in the game. And which boss is going to be here? It's Galura. Really easy boss, not heavy. You can petrify it. You can toad this boss, actually. It's vulnerable to instant death, petrification. Well, Galura has a lot of weaknesses. The only real problem with this boss is that if you don't kill it quickly, it can deal massive damage by rushing multiple times a turn. And unfortunately, it does not give us any reward. The AP here is just a golden sword. Alright, so now I think Alastair is going to pursue the Ball Castle hint. Yep. So, we know Ball Castle has a required item. However, we're only going to do the first check here. It may or may not be the path to the void, we don't know. If we don't find any key item here, however, we will be sure that Odin's spot in Wall 3 will have the required item. Oh, we do not like that. The Guardian Crystals are the bosses you normally find in Wolf Forest. They each have a different elemental weakness. They are not heavy, so you can try using Odin. Lower chance to proc. Here we are going to brute force it with the Hamut, dealing AoE damage. Knowing that the HP is split between all of them. Okay, so it is indeed a required item. The antibio is required to get access to World 3. Everything heads up now. The only key item we are currently missing is the third tablet. So it's going nicely. Almost feels way too fast. So there are shops here, though all of those shops can be found in another World 2 town called Helb. We find First Whistle Magic. Here You Call is in World 1. So Here You Call is the key item that makes the dragon spawn in World 2, allowing you to access Caesar's fleet. You can not land on Caesar's fleet with the airship, so you need the dragon for that spot. Alright, so as I mentioned earlier, there is Kelb. That's a town with a lot of shops. All shops that were in Bold Castles are in Kelb, along with 2 additional shops. And a hint. We don't really get much good equipment. We saw Excalibur. No, this is not the Excalibur. Do not be mistaken in the chat. This is not Excalibur. This is the Excalibur, the weapon wielded by Gilgamesh. Submarine key is in World 3. Okay, so the submarine key gives access to multiple locations that are, well, underwater. And now we are going to chain it with what we call Money Mountain. So Hiryu Valley has chests that have a decent tier. That's one of the first checks you can do in World 2. And by such, it generally gives us a good amount of money, so we generally call it Money Mountain. The road here is kinda longer, we have a lot of chests to open, so maybe Lord Batsy wants to say something?
Yeah, looking ahead at the schedule, what's coming up next in a little under 2 hours is It'll Do 2. So that still has some bid wars going on for the outfits. I think swimwear is winning right now. So if you want to have a say in what It'll Do is wearing while It'll does, I haven't played the second game, I really should, get your donations in.
Well, thank you, Batsy. Well, if you have anything else to say, you can. It's going to drag on a little longer. We just found the White Mage. That's a useful job, but that's not much. Alright, there's only the boss coming up. And this is Wing Raptor. So this is the first boss in the game that you normally find in Wind Shrine. It's not really a menace at all. It can be insta-killed by Doom or mixing a Death Potion, but, well, not easy to insta-kill otherwise. It is heavy, so you cannot use Odin on it, unfortunately. And it will still have its annoying gimmick that if you attack Wing Raptor while its wings are closed, it will counter with Claw. It's kinda annoying. This spot also has a lot of HP, I believe 12,000. And that's done. and this gives us Ifrit's Fire. So that's a key item that unlocks the second boss check in library. Like you remember in the vanilla game, first you go in the library, there's this bookshelf blocking your path, so you go on the left instead, you fight Ifrit. Once you get Ifrit, the bookshelf on the right will let you pass because Ifrit will threaten it with fire. Well, that's exactly the same with this key item. That's the way we implemented this like storyline and this flag in the game. Now, talking about fire, we are exploring the fire ship, also known as the steamship. Normally, we generally don't go and open all the chests because, well, the item tier here is not really that high, but we can showcase the path to open all the chests if you want. We were lucky though, because the equipment that we found there was not bad. Strength suit is a light equipment that will give you a few strength bonus points. The giant glove will also give you strength point bonus and vitality bonus as well. Yeah, just getting the stuff on the way. Because if you want to open all the chests, it kind of it's a waste of time because at the point where now the item tier here is not really high, so it's not worth it. Like at best, we're not opening stuff on the way to get money or just be lucky. Like strength suit and giant glove, like that's just the best thing we got here. Okay, now the boss here. So the first of the two bosses, Biblos, the library rat. It is not heavy, so you can insta-kill it with Odin. It's also weak to fire. So for instance, if you use Fire 3 Sword, you will instantly kill Biblos. You can also just use Ifrit or Fire 3. And it's already dead. And we are rewarded with a Slumber Sword. That's nothing. So we are going to progress into Karnak Castle Escape. So we have 10 minutes to loot and escape. We have... Well, we do have plenty of time in the randomizer, because we do go fast. The random encounters are removed, and the little story encounters with the transformed Ironclaw are also removed. What's good, however, is that we do have time to farm the chests, and there are 3 monster in a box chests in here which have higher reward tier. So that's kind of what we are looking for here. And we are even exploring the 2 towers, so those are the chests that take the longest amount of time. And it was all for Mithril armor. Wow, thanks game. Choked, that's something we are glad to find. So that's the summon that can petrify enemies. So we now have a way to petrify enemies. Since we can't cast Breakblade and we don't have the Break Black Magic spell. So now we can petrify enemies. And we find a Ragnarok. The second most powerful sword in the game. Definitely an upgrade from the Enhancer. It can normally be equipped only by the Knight and the Freelancer, of course. But if you master a Knight, you get Equip Sword and you can equip it on any job. Like we did find Equip Sword early in the seed, we can equip it on the Hunter. In the same way, you could equip it on a Dancer to get a Ragnarok Sword Dance. And we get Brave Blade, that's the most powerful sword in the seed. So yeah, we are getting a ninja with Equip Sword with Brave Blade and Ragnarok. Or Enhancer. Wow. Since the ninja has an innate two-handed ability, you don't need to re-equip two-handed, so we can now dual-wield powerful swords. We also get a dark suit, that's the best equipment for the ninja as well. And we only find Efrit. Ramu, sorry, Ramu, it's written Ramu. The HP here is not high, so we kill Ramu very easily, otherwise he is not heavy. You can kill it with X-Zone or Odin if you want. And we find the Big Bridge key. So the Big Bridge key unlocks, as you guessed it, the Big Bridge in World 2. That's where we fight Gilgamesh for the second time. Which will also give you the best music theme in the entire seed. Okay, so we did have the anti-bio and the bracelet for a while now, but now we definitely have the firepower to actually go beat X-Death. So X-Death is at the top of the castle, but meanwhile there are also 3 optional bosses on the way. And since we are missing just 1 tablet, we are going to do those bosses. Maybe there's the 3rd tablet in the castle. The second rat, a panda. Upgraded version of Biblos. This boss is heavy, you cannot insta-kill it. But it's still vulnerable to fire. So Fire Sword, Fire 3, that's going to do damage. There's also a special interaction with Ifrit, where a panda will reply, "It's Ifrit," and then we'll get confused and we'll waste a turn healing its confusion. So you can stunlock a panda with Ifrit. Though we are probably just going to... okay, I was going to say we can brute force, but... yeah. Yeah, it's Ifrit, so he will turn away, he is confused, and he will waste a turn doing medicine to cure the confusion. And instantly turn the character into Toad as well, because why not? At least, contrary to his lower counterpart, Apanda will not spam armor every time you attack. That's what makes Biblos annoying, is that he will always reply with armor. Okay, he's defeated. And we master a hunter, which gives us X-Fight. So X-Fight has 2 uses. First, it bypasses some weapons' passive abilities, like the chicken knife. You don't like the chicken knife proccing you running away? X-Fight removes this. The other useful thing is that X-Fight is basically 4 attacks in the same turn. It targets randomly, but it's 4 attacks instead of 1. Normally, you are limited by doing quad 9 damage, but if you're doing 4 attacks, you only need 2,500 damage on every attack to go over the quad 9 cap. X-Fight combines really well with two-handed, as you will do 4 attacks with 2 weapons, and it also combines really well with Spellblade, because you can do 4 attacks with an infused element. So, for instance, if we find the Shiva encounter, Shiva has 3 soldiers with her, which are not heavy and weak to fire. If you do Fire 3 Sword and X-Fight, you can basically kill all 3 soldiers in the same turn because of that mechanic. That's something really awesome to do. Like, I don't think we'll be able to showcase that, but that's very situational. But yeah, X-Fight is something you like to combine with other abilities like Spellblades. Yeah, okay. You do not see the Spellblade's animation, that's only something graphical. It does the effect. And we found a Yoshi bow, so we can actually equip the best bow on our remaining hunter. So the Yoshi bow, along with the Artemis bow, will always automatically crit a beast type enemy. Other than that, the Yoshi bow has a high crit rate. That's what makes it the best bow. And if you get the equip bow ability and you get the Berserker, if you want, you can get a Bowserker, so Berserker equipping a bow, and you can equip the Yoshi bow. You will have a character from the back row with a huge strength stat, doing critical damage almost every turn. So Alastair here is preparing to do the 2 optional bosses, which are Carbon Coal and Gilgamesh 4, before doing X-Death. That's not how you do it. So yeah, usually we remember the holes in this puzzle room. You go to the right to go to the top, and that's Carbon Coal. Catastrophe on Carbon Coal spot. So Catastrophe is going to do absolutely nothing because her character can cast Float. And when you are floating, Catastrophe will always do Gravity 100 to make you go back to the ground and make you vulnerable to Earthquake. So we just need to recast Float. If we wanted, we could also just reset, cast Float on the save points, and equip a Reflect Ring. That way, Catastrophe will never be able to unfloat the character equipping the Reflect Ring, and so Catastrophe would be stun locked. So meanwhile, we are doing X-Fight with the Yuichibo. 4 more chances to do crit damage, and we finish. That's a boss we are generally happy to see going down quickly rather than finding it later, like in the void. And we get the Shrine page with that. That's one of the 4 big dungeons in World 3, with a lot of high tier chests. So if we still don't have the 3rd tablet after Excess Castle, we might go there. Like, there are 2 free spots in World 3, Tool Pass, which requires taking Boko for a ride, Jackal Ruins, where you fight Odin normally, and then, well, you can have the choice between all the page dungeons or the underwater Rose Tower. So we will see what Alastair has in mind. Okay, for now we see the pocket. Do you have blue magic? Oh, we have blue. Blue magic is basically you learn the enemy's abilities and you use them. It's really powerful. It's the best support ability because you can get like Big Ward, for instance. And here, Alastair is going to show off something funny. Apocalypse, also called Azumagia, depending on the version, is a blue mage. You can teach him abilities. You can teach him Exploder. He learns Exploder. And now, he does Exploder. So that's a very funny way to cheese this fight. And it gives us Mirage Radar. That's a nice reward. Otherwise, if you do not find Exploder, Apocalypse is vulnerable to Venom element. Like, the Toxic element is his weakness. You can use Biosword, or a Venom Rod. That will do damage as well. Now we are preparing for X-Death. So as we said, X-Death is vulnerable to light. So we are getting some white mages with X-Magic. They will be able to cast Holy 2 times due to X-Magic. We are also going to increase Holy damage by equipping the Sage Staff on the character. And if we ever run out of MP, we do have a Light Staff to wreck. We are going full overpowered with 4 white mages. We aren't even keeping any physical damage dealer. We are just going full holy. The thing with physical damage dealers is that you can get kicked by an opening with Dynamo, which changes your front row, back row. Okay, we got the Condemned opening, that's fine. And now we are going to dual cast Holy every turn. And that's a lot of damage. That's X-Death weakness plus a damage bonus from the Sage Staff. I don't remember which character has it equipped. Oh, I think it was definitely Ferris that had the Sage Staff. So X-Death has this kinda scary phase. Once you reach a specific amount, a specific HP threshold, X-Death will get 2 turns per turn, like 2 actions per turn. And at that point, he will be spamming level 5 black magics, as well as Vacuum Wave, a very powerful physical attack that will most likely one-hit KO your character due to the damage it inflicts. And if you do not die from this, it will also inflict you Sap, which will constantly reduce your HP. But X-Death will not even make a single turn. So this gives us access to the merged world, which we are immediately going. And I assume Alastair is going to Mirage Village because we have 2 additional hints there as well as a lot of powerful shops. Yeah, definitely Alastair is going there. There are 2 shops in every building. So here we can find... That's not really a good shop here. Ice 3 Sword, Life 2... White Wind is interesting as well. Could have been better, but yeah. History Falls, all the third tablet. Well, we don't need to do anything else. We know where the last tablet is. Oh, wait. That means we need the Falls page. Mughal Suit is in World 1, we already know. Okay, so Falls has T3. Doom, Hastiga, level 3 Flare, Big Ward. Well, basically the entire kit to make Blue Mage really good. Along with Black Mage being able to insta-kill. Okay, so for... in order to access History Falls, we need 2 items. The Falls page, which we do not know where it is, and the submarine key. However, the submarine key is hinted in World 3, so we kinda know where to look. There are a few World 3 spots available. We can do Odin spot, which can be Path to the Void actually, maybe. We could check Tool Pass, which means taking Boko the Chocobo for a ride. We could do Shrine, Island Shrine. And we could also do Northern Mountain in World 3. Having access to Mirage Village gives us access to the Black Chocobo in World 3. That's how you get to Northern Mountain. Yes, Freddy, it gave us the anti-buyer. And we find a magic lamp on the way. Wow, that's a valuable item. The magic lamp will always cycle through all the summons, from the most powerful to the least powerful, so it will always go Bahamut, then Leviathan, then Odin, then Sildra, etc. And you can replenish the lamp by either going to the top of History Falls, using Boko the Chocobo, or down in Trench. The nice thing is you can use the magical lamp as a panic button to do 1 free summon cast. But what's special about the lamp is that Odin from the lamp will always do True Edge, never Gungnir. The normal use of Odin is that if all targets are not heavy, he will do True Edge. If there's one single target that is not heavy, he cannot do True Edge. With the Magic Lamp, you bypass that. You can use True Edge even if there's one target that is heavy. And that's useful for the final boss fight because that's exactly what happens. The back part in Neox Death is not heavy, so you can True Edge it. But the Magic Lamp is the only way to guarantee Odin doing True Edge. Alright, so now I wonder what Alastair is going to do. There are many checks open in World 3. And looks like we are taking Boko for a ride first. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the Chocobo music. There is a boss check here. Let's get back to business. That's not where you normally fight Antlion. What's here? What is here today? Siren. Very easy boss. You can petrify Siren, you can insta-kill Siren with Doom, even though she is heavy. If you do not kill her right away, after 4 turns she will turn into a zombie. She becomes undead, so she's wounded by healing spells, and she also gets a fire weakness. So what Alastair tries now is to proc Petrify on it. Yep. And we get the Pyramid page. That's another World 3 location. Just like Iron Shrine, there are a lot of chests in Pyramid. That's something we usually enjoy looting for all the rewards there are there. And now is the perfect time to explain something about the page dungeons. So there are 4 dungeons like this that require a page to open, and each of them have a boss at the entrance, symbolized by the statues. These bosses do not give you any item, it's just there to gatekeep the location. Here it's Bahamut, and no, Bahamut is not a dragon. Bahamut is going to go down quickly though. This spot doesn't have many HP, it's only 10,000. With a few Yoshibo crits, it can go quicker. The only scary thing is if we are too slow and Bahamut gets a turn to do like Poison Breath or Zombie Breath. The problem with those spells is that you have no way to protect against them. And Poison Breath is powerful, and Zombie Breath will turn your characters into zombies, and you do not want that because zombies are considered dead for the sake of game over. Okay, Bahamut is down quickly. So once we finish the fight, we can go outside in order to save, regenerate ourselves with the cabin, and we can go back inside. No, Freddy, we do not have a chicken knife. However, we do have Ragnarok and Brave Blade. But no chicken knife, unfortunately, unless I missed it. Also, we don't need to worry about the poison spikes. Using float or damage floor, or just having a geomancer in your party will make you immune to the poison spikes. Oh yeah, we found Equip Sword really early, and we did find Ragnarok plus Brave Blade in Karna Castle Escape, so we have a ninja while winning the 2 most powerful swords. We also get the Apollo Harp. The Apollo Harp, which can only be equipped by a Bard or Freelancer, is a very powerful weapon. It does bonus damage against undeads and dragon monsters. That's extremely powerful. If we don't have a way to cheese Neox Death, like the usual guild toss or summon strats, you can use the Apollo Harp on the Grand Cross part. It also means a lot of the Potter bosses get shredded by the Apollo Harp, because some of them are dragons, some of them are undead. Apollo Harp is a great weapon if you go for the Potter bosses. Also, yes, I see that in the chat. The white snakes and prototypes from the holes in the walls are removed in this randomizer. Unfortunately, as Lily mentions, X-Fight does not work with the harps or bells. You won't get the bonus damage. However, I don't know if X-Fight is compatible or not with the Sage Staff, because the Sage Staff also does bonus damage on undeads. But if it works the same, like doing a spell when using it to attack, it wouldn't work, I think. X-Fight Sage Staff works. That's useful to know. It ruins Somber Mage Phase 2. Well, Apple Hop would ruin it even harder. So all this talk, that's having in mind the Porter Boss. The Porter Boss is a challenge boss added by the randomizer itself. It's an additional boss, we don't need it to finish the seed, it's just optional. It's a very powerful boss. It's random between 3 possible bosses: the Thunder Mage, Rain Senshi, or the Dragon Clan. I don't think we're going to see that today. It requires powerful parties to be able to beat it. But it's good to mention that normally under standard settings, depending on the tournament, it can be an alternate win condition instead of Neo Extend. Sometimes. It is rarely faster though. And it's way harder. So I think here, oh, we found Freelancer. Well, we kinda won the seed. So the thing with the Freelancer in FF5 is that it is both the weakest job and the strongest job. It's the weakest on the beginning because the Freelancer doesn't have any particular bonus, it doesn't have any particular ability. It's just the base job. You cannot master it, it doesn't have any job level, you don't get any ability through mastering it. But if you change job and master other jobs and learn abilities, the Freelancer gets all the stats from the jobs you mastered. And you can equip 2 abilities instead of 1, which makes it the best job at the end of the game. I see we have a few mastered jobs, like we have a mastered Hunter. I don't think though that we mastered the Summoner, unfortunately. But yeah, all the mastered job will transfer their stats to the Freelancer, which makes it very powerful. Also, the Freelancer can equip every equipment, all armors, all weapons. So, well, yeah. And we find Odin. Finally, we find Odin. Make is an alternative, as it can even equip 3 abilities instead of 2, but it doesn't have the equip all that the Freelancer has. And, well, you can only equip most magical equipment on it. If you go for magical parties, Mimic is perfect. But if you want to equip specific weapons, only the Freelancer can do it. Alright, now we are getting the Pyramid boss. So normally there is no boss at the top of the pyramid. The boss is normally outside in the forest, that's where you fight Melusine. But for the purposes of the randomizer and to make the pyramid more worth it, because it's locked by the pyramid page, we moved the Melusine fight on top of the pyramid, and here it's Cracklow. So Cracklow is insta-killable, and you can insta-kill it, petrify it. It's also vulnerable to thunder. You have multiple ways to kill Cracklow. Alright, now, yeah, we are going to Bolcastle's basement. That's where you normally fight Odin. Yeah, Pyramid giving us the Adamantite, which means the Flaying Lunka runes in World 1 are now open. That's 2 additional checks with a longer dungeon. Yeah, with really low tier rewards, so it's not a location we enjoy. Okay, which boss is present there? Oh, we're getting Flame Shield. Flame Shield is nice. Very nice considering Mimics can equip shields, actually. Hello, Calabos, second lobster. Calabos, however, you cannot insta-kill it. Which is funny, because Calabas is the first lobster you see in the game. It's sitting at Tornus Canal. Cracklow is the second lobster you see in the game, normally in the catapult. But Cracklow is the one with the highest amount of vulnerabilities. Calabos is only vulnerable to thunder, so we are going to spam thunder attacks here. Or Meteor. That works as well. Yeah, X Magic Bolt 3 is going to do a lot of damage. If only we had a Thunder Rod or a Wizard Rod in order to boost the elemental damage even more, that would do even more damage. The Rune Bell also boosts elemental attacks, but you rarely see that. Unfortunately, there was nothing here. That means that in World 3... what's left in here? I think there's only Shrine available now. Like, we know the submarine key is in Wall 3, so we kind of want to keep looking in Wall 3. Oh, we also have Northern Mountain. Oh, okay, so we only have 2 remaining checks in Wall 3. After that, we'll need additional key items. And we find Gilgamesh 4. And I see we did get a freelancer with X-Fight, which means we can X-Fight with the most powerful weapons that we have not equipped yet. I think we saw the Tempest Sword, which is a katana with a high crit rate, combined with X-Fight. And he equipped Mix as well. You could have equipped two-handed if you wanted to X-Fight with dual wielding. That's the thing. The freelancer doesn't have in native two-handed. You get native two-handed only if you master the ninja, not if you have the ability. That's the little detail. But maybe once Galoof masters the ninja, maybe we get a freelancer with native dual wielding abilities for fun. Other than that, well, we'll just be X-fighting with the Tempest Sword, which is a decent weapon. 4 attacks, which means 4 chances to crit. Katanas are also weapons that are fast. So I see people in chat saying maybe Geluf will turn into a freelancer or maybe Cry. It's maybe a good time. Oh, the Lucky Pantera. That's the rare encounter instead of invisible. You can petrify this mini-boss. That's basically good RNG first try. So the thing about Ryle, you get her by doing more forest. Either because more forest has a required item, or because you need Ryle for the Fog Tower. And well, Fog Tower is somewhere we do not want to go. It's 2 bosses in a row, and you have to split your party inside of Fog Tower. That's what makes it harder. You need to fight 2 bosses with half parties. And you need to beat both of them. Like, you can't just do one boss, and if you get your item, well, you can exit. Nope, you have to kill both bosses. Okay, so while Alastair is exploring the island shrine, Lord Batsy, if you have anything to say, you can chime in. You've got plenty of time. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, next up we still have It'll Do 2 with Arborelia and Flannel Cat. And once again, we still have that outfit incentive. I think Swimsuit is still winning, but there's some other stuff on there. Get your donations in for that as soon as you can, I think.
Alright, don't worry, you got more time. There's still a few moments before we reach the boss. Like, Mikey Knight is not the actual dungeon boss. Alright, so we heal ourselves. There are 2 more chests and then the final boss. Magic Sword 6, that's nice to find, even though we don't really need it. We didn't find Flare Sword or Holy Sword. Okay, who's the boss here? You, okay, hello the triplets. So those... Okay, they are not heavy, so Odin rocking first try is neat. Otherwise, those 3 are undeads. So they take damage from healing spells, but that also means you cannot doom them. Doom will fully heal them. If you do not kill all three of them in the same turn, they will resurrect and cast Delta attack, which will petrify one of your characters. That makes it really unnerving when you do not have Odin and you have to rely either on brute force, breaking the enemies, and mind that you have to break 3 enemies in the same turn, or you have to rely on elixirs or Q3 single target to put each of them at 1 HP and then finish them. So yeah. Okay, I don't time I. So this boss has a native shell, but he's not heavy, so Odin go brrr. Odin is on a roll now. Otherwise, Adun Taimai can also be insta-killed, and is also weak to ice. So Ice 3 Sword will also insta-kill it. Is this even randomized? So, was Adun Taimai vanilla? It was Tycoon Meteor. Oh yes, it's vanilla. Aduntai was vanilla. And we have a Ductor, so that's another non-heavy boss. So you can insta-kill it, you can petrify it. Yep. You can Odin. So yes, subkey is wall 3, but we kinda need other key items to explore wall 3. There's only Northern Mountain available, and yeah, Northern Mountain is a check we don't like because that's Bahamut's check, and it's 40,000 HP. That's something we don't really like. Can you stone everything? We can petrify a lot of bosses in this game. So, yep. Abductor, for instance? Yep, totally. That's because a lot of bosses do not need those vulnerabilities in the vanilla game. Because you do not get access to break or shout at that point. But this is randomizer. You can get those abilities really early, you can get those bosses really late. So yeah, we can exploit those weaknesses. Okay, so Northern Mountain, Bahamut spot, 40,000 HP. Who's there? Okay, that's a really easy one. Tyrannosaurus? That's an undead. It's not heavy. So you can insta-kill it with Phoenix Down. Using an elixir or Cure 3 will also put it to 1 HP. Oh, and that's a double value. We get the Samurai and the Submarine Key. So Submarine Key is what we were looking for. Now we can do a few more checks, underwater checks, like Sunken Walls or Trench. And we are probably going to Trench for one reason. Trench has 3 additional hints and 2 more shops. Okay, so a few explanations about the Samurai. That's basically the best job in the game. First, it has the ability to equip katanas. Katanas have high crit rates, and the best of them is the Masamune. Using the Masamune as an item will cast Haste on your target. It also gives you the Evade ability. The Samurai is able to dodge a lot. It improves your survivability. But most importantly, the samurai learns kill toss. Oh, hello, Omniscient. So this is the mage that is wearing a big rug. It's annoying. If you do anything else than a magic spell, Omniscient will reset the fight. So you either need to use a magic party or you'll mute Omniscient. You can do that with white magic, though that's not really reliable. What Alastair is going is that we equipped Spellblade and we are going to use Mute Blade. Be careful to not use a katana, because katana are not infusable with Spellblade. So yeah, we are going to mute Omniscient and destroy him. The good thing with Mute is that you will also prevent Omniscient from casting any spell, especially the Flare Death counter. Another strat is to Berserk Omniscient. You can Berserk him. The thing is, he actually hits hard. Also, muting him means you can use the Judgment Staff in order to debuff his native armor and shell. Whereas if you do that with Berserk, you will also get rid of Berserk and you will have to do that again. So yeah, we are glad we found Mute Sword in the 10 first minutes of the run. That was... we bought it in Cowan, I think. It was Cowan or Full. Very early town. Mute Spellblade, I don't know exactly how much it lasts, but it lasts longer than casting Mute White Magic. Also, you keep reapplying it every time the freelancer attacks, so it's easy. Contrary to Mute Spell, a Spellblade will always proc as long as the hit lands. So you just do not miss your physical attack, you will also mute. Okay, that's what we were talking about earlier. So, Galuf mastered Ninja. Galuf has Spellblade. Galuf has X-Fight. So now, Galuf as a freelancer has native two-handed. You can equip X-Fight and Spellblade. We have now a character dual-wielding Ragnarok and Brave Blade, able to attack 8 times a turn, because 4 attacks by 2 weapons, that's 8 attacks, with Elemental Infusion. Now that's going to pack a bunch of damage.
Got a quick donation to read, if I may.
Yes, of course.
All right, we've got Anonymous with $25, which I think sextuples the swimsuit's lead over everything else, something like that. And comment, you're awesome, less than 3. Well, Anonymous, you are even more less than 3. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, don't forget to, look at the incentives for the upcoming runs, and also don't forget you're donating to charity. We're all doing that for NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness. So all donations are appreciated. Alright, time for the 3 final hints. Karnak hold the Big Witch Key, we already know. History falls is Password Void, we know. Bridge areas are barren. Okay, that we didn't know. So this means that all locations that our class has bridge will never have any item. So the bridge locations are Big Bridge and Iron Shrine. Considering we already did Iron Shrine, That's kind of a bummer, and we do have the big breach keys, and we know that key item will not yield anything, so that's kind of sad. So we have no hint to help us for the end of the scene. We do not know where the false page is. We are looking for the false page. I'm also going to erase the hints that are useless anymore. Yeah, here we go. And we find Gogo. Gogo is a mime. He will teach us how to be a mime. He says us, well, everything you do, I will copy it. And surely, if you copy me, you can become a great mime. So guess what's going to happen? Well, do you all know the memes about Mario Party where Luigi wins by doing nothing? That's exactly what we're going to do. Gogo does nothing. We are going to copy Gogo doing nothing, so we're going to do nothing. And we are going to win by doing nothing. So that's usually the perfect opportunity to get your break, stretch, hydrate yourself, or just have a quick word if the host has any. Again, that's the perfect opportunity. Gogo is going to take like 2 or 3 minutes of
This
free
is
break.
be a great time to send donations, so keep them coming.
On an additional note, you can kill Gogo normally with one trick. If you set up 3 characters with Reflect, which we call Try-Reflect strat, Gogo will not counter, and actually no enemy will ever counter because it's considered an attack against yourself. Because one character doesn't reflect. It's possible to kill Gogo in every instance if you have the setup. So you roll 3 characters. Hopefully the 4th character has an elemental absorption like Fire Ring, Fire Shield, etc. And that's how you basically ensure you can kill everyone without any counter. Yes, we did Long Kamitil. Alright, so time's up. Gogo gives up. He was doing nothing, so we did nothing. We copied him. Good job. This is the heart of the meme. We are graduates now. It's too bad that no one thought Luigi has the name incentive, because there you could have said Luigi wins by doing nothing.
We've got a $25 donation, also anonymous, but says, "Yo, Alastair, keep up the run and the good work for charity. Big love from your lucha buds."
Well, big love to you and thanks for the donation. And that's really incredible because we are looking for the false page literally everywhere, and we did find the false page on that boss, on Gogo. Gogo giving us the Go mode. That's Gogo Go mode, I think. Gogo Go mode, making us avoid the dreaded Fog Tower as well. So thanks everyone for your support. We are glad you are enjoying the run. So just as a reminder, we know this is required, we know the last tablet is here. So we are just going to rush through the dungeon. After that, what will happen? We will have the... Oh, that's the fight I mentioned earlier. So basically, if you do Fire 3 Sword and X fight, you shred this fight. And it's a funny animation as well, because The insta-kill means you don't have any damage, it displays the same as a crit, you don't have the spell blade animation. It's going to be really funny when Galuf attacks. If Galuf actually gets to attack. Because X-Fight Fire 3... yeah. Do we get the insta-kill? No! Game! Okay. Oh, that's 8 attacks actually, yeah. And all 8 attacks on Shiva. Didn't even... Unfortunately, we couldn't show the insta-kill with Spellblade and X-Fight. Okay. But Shiva really did not like it. 10 over 10 with X-Fight again. Okay, so what was I saying? What happens after that? We have the 4 tablets. So after that we will go to the Void. The Void is a long dungeon which is basically a boss rush. In the vanilla game you need to face Alufistery, Appenda, Apocalypse, Catastrophe, Harikanasu, and Twintania. Here, obviously, it's randomized, so we have 6 bosses. Also, there was a nice out of bound glitch. Totally useless, but good to showcase. X-Fight is for targeting, so 1 over 4 at the power of 4. Yes, Dryzalizer, but it was only 2 targets since 2 soldiers were already dead, so it was 50% instead of 25%. So that would be a half by the power of 4. That's 1 over 16, I think. 1 chance over 16 to do all 4 X-Fight proc on Shiva. I think 1 over 16. Yep. Knowing that if it had been 4 targets instead of 1 over 16, it would have been 1 over 256 instead. That would have been way harder. Second weapon always gets the same target as the first one. Okay, so we can actually showcase that again. Liquid Flame is not heavy, insta-killable, breakable, and weak to ice. A lot of vulnerabilities here. As long as it's not in its hand form. The hand, however, is heavy. Okay, so now, before going to the Void, Alastair is going to do some shopping, which has 2 purposes. First, getting useful items. We are probably going with the usual Guildtoss plus Mix combo for Ned. So we do want useful items to mix, like Revivifies, Phoenix Downs, Antidotes. And we also want to sell all the useless stuff so we can get money in order to defeat Ned. With only Guildhouse doing quad 9 every time, we want 148,500 guilds. Yes, Lily, we did go to Mugglesuit 1 hour ago. That's where we got Holy, actually. So yeah, that's a lot of things to sell. So, what's a good strat against Neo X-Death? The best strat is basically to use Guild Toss. Guild Toss inflicts damage to all targets, depending on how much money you throw. How much money you throw depends on your level. So then you only need either the Bard or the Chemist in order either to sing Hero Song or mix Samson's Power to get your bubbles up. Knowing that the mix command is slightly better because you have a lot of useful mixes to protect your party. Once you are set up, well, Guildhouse will basically do quad 9 to all targets. So that's the fastest and easiest strat. If you do not have Guildhouse, you can also use the Elemental Power strat with the Summoner. You can use either Sildra, which is Wind Elemental, or Leviathan, which is Water Elemental, and boost them by mixing a Revivify and an Eye Drop, which yields Elemental Power, and also by raising your level. It's always good to raise your level. And after that, it becomes excruciating to kill Neo X-Death easily. You will need to take, like, if you cannot use summons or Guildhouse, you will need, basically, to take each part, there are 4 parts, down one by one. This requires you to know what part is vulnerable to what part does what. Like the upper left part is Grand Cross, the bottom right part is Almagest. You want those out as soon as possible. The back part is not heavy, you can kill it with Odin Magic Lamp, so you can keep that for the end. Also knowing that if you go for each part one by one, well, once the last part is alone, it will basically just do Meteor. It will just spam Meteor again and again, and you don't want that. So yep, that's how net is when you can't use fast strats. Okay, Pyro Bosses. So these bosses, if you kill them, they will cast Life 2 to resurrect all the other Pyro Bosses that are dead. So what you want to do is kill them all during the same turn, which we can do with Leviathan or Bahamut. An alternative strat is to Berserk or mute them. This will prevent them from doing Life 2. Also, they are not heavy, but I do not recommend that you use Odin. You will effectively insta-kill them, but they will cast Life 2 after being dead, so they will actually resurrect, which is something you do not want. That's why you do not insta-kill them. And here, yeah, 2 Pyro Bosses survived, so now it's kind of a pinch. what we can do, yeah. Alastair is hasting the freelancer, and we're going to use Mute Sword. Otherwise, you could mix a Revivify and a Turtle Shell that would do Bacchus Wine, that would Berserk your target. You can also do Kiss of Life, Kiss of Blessing, sorry. I don't remember which one it is. That's Revivify and Maiden Kiss, I think. Kiss of Blessing gives Berserk, Image and Float to a target, but you don't care about the target floating or having Image if you use magical attacks on it. All that matters is that it's Berserked. So yeah.
Got a $5 donation from Mian. What a great run in commentary. I'd love to see some more donations, so to steal an idea from GDQ, anyone else want to get a Final Fantasy $5 chain going? Plus, let's give the swimsuit some competition. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the donation. So, at a $5 person run, maybe. And that was another X-Fight times 8 on the same target again. Okay, so you might have noticed here on the screen is Omega. The thing, Omega normally moves, you know, it moves, so you need to dodge it. In Karyude, it does not move, so it's easy to dodge. Okay, Antlion, this boss is vulnerable to water. It's also vulnerable to Aqua Breathe. The thing is, Aqua Breathe is not water elemental, but it deals 8 times damage to desert enemies. Aqua Rate, yeah, sorry. Okay, I don't know why Aqua Rake was not effective here, because Antlion is indeed a desert enemies and it should do a lot of damage. Using the Sage Staff as an item that casts life for free. Oh, Antlion is not a desert enemy? Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Though he's indeed vulnerable to water, though. And it will always run away, so no AP, no XP, unfortunately. Okay, now we are able to explore more. So we're getting to the castle part of the rift. The chests here, they take a lot of time to reach. Like, when you're at the end of the sea, you generally don't even go for the chest anymore. You already have all the gears you need. And this boss here covers a save point. And that's Minotaurus. do we take on Minotauros or not? So we have two choices here. Either we beat Minotauros and we unlock the save point, or we just skip this save point. We do have a really easy way to deal with him though. That's by throwing an Assassin Dagger. So it's a very specific interaction with Minotauros. If you throw an Assassin Dagger, it will instantly kill it, and it will remove the Holy Death counter. So that's a specific interaction with this boss. We are certainly going to do that. It's actually funny that we are able to showcase it in the marathon. That's a rare event, because generally Minotauros is not on such a required spot, or we do not have the guild to do it. So yeah, we are going to throw the Assassin Dagger. Good thing we did not sell it, and it insta-kills. So we are re-equipping everything, just being careful about the Bone Mail auto-equipping. What the Bone Mail does, it kind of gives your character the undead status. So enemies will not be able to drain from you, that will damage them. But you will not be able to heal your character, and you will not be able to resurrect your character if it ever dies. So Bone Mail is something we don't really want. Soul Cannon, weak to Thunder, so Bolt 3 Blade, X-Might, and X-Magic Bolt 3 will quickly take care of it. Fortunately, Soul Cannon here has a lot of HP, so we are going to see the X-Fight. Dual-wielding Bolt 3 sword. So if we do an average of 4,800 multiplied by 8, that's 38,400 damage in a single turn. Almost 40k damage. Knowing that this part had 20k damage, 20k HP. So which of the 50 ways of killing Ned are we using? Well, that's up to Alastair. Alastair is the one running in the end. But we are most probably either going to use Guild Toss Mix or Summon Mix. Okay, Leviathan, that's kinda more... that's kinda harder. Leviathan is also weak to Thunder. The thing is, if you use the Black Magic Ball 3, you will get the Tidal Wave counter, and if you use X Magic, you will get double Tidal Wave counter, so you do not want it. Instead, you will probably just use X-Fight with Spellblade, because the physical attacks only gives you Entangle counters, and you have Golem. So, yeah, once again, X-Fight is going to shred Leviathan. The spot is 33k HP, so yeah. One single turn, Leviathan. Damn, that's a lot of damage. But yeah, it's really a matter of safety when you're against Leviathan. If you have access to Bolt To both Bolt 3 and Bolt 3 Sword, you prefer to use Bolt 3 Sword because at least you will never get a Tidal Wave counter. Especially if you use X Magic, which can yield double Tidal Wave counter. And oh, okay, so Quintania Spot, which has 50,000 HP, is Gilgamesh 3. Gilgamesh 3 is the one who calls Enkidu, which will immediately do White Wind and fully heal both targets. Fortunately, Gilgamesh 3 is heavy, but he's vulnerable to death, so Doom will just prevent Enkidu from ever showing up. If you can't do that, Enkidu is not heavy, and also insta-killable, so yeah. Good brief we had Doom just for this fight. And now that's the end. We are going back to save and prepare for New Access battle. We will reach the Inner Sanctum of the Void. Technically, there's one boss we could do there which covers a save point. That's called the Necro Spot, because that's where you usually fight Necrophobe. It's not mandatory, it's only an additional save point that is not required. You can just go back here. You get the Necro save point only if you want a closer save point from New X Death or the Portal boss. Like if you want to try both final bosses. Otherwise, you almost never get there. Except once. Like if you had to skip the previous save point, like where Minotaur was, then you might want to get the Necro save point, but that's all. That's all. So now we are gearing up all our characters. I missed what Alastair put on the freelancers. Looks like the mimics are not going to Giltos. Or maybe they're going to Giltos through Mimic. I don't know. And I didn't see what the freelancers equipped. Alright, so now, Batsy, if you have one last things to say while Alastair reaches the final boss, it's kind of a long walk. You can chime in?
Yeah, everybody make sure to keep those donations coming in. And as for anyone who's just joining us, what you're watching is Randomania, and we are a randomizer marathon. And we are raising money for NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness. So after this Final Fantasy V Career Day run, we've got It'll Do 2, and after that is Phantasy Star 4. And there's still time to get those bids in for the It'll Do incentive. Swimwear is winning, but someone could snipe it.
Well, thank you. Alright, so we are arriving just in front of Ned. Okay. The little crystal you saw on the left was the access to the portal boss, in case you were wondering. Okay, so the final boss here has two phases. First is Ted. 3x Ted, because it's a tree. It's a very simple phase that we use to set up before the final boss. It won't do anything, honestly. Most annoying thing it can do is White Hole, which will insta-kill and petrify a character. That's why we mix Life Shield. It prevents any insta-kill from happening, so it will protect against both effects of White Hole. I mean, it protects against one effect, but that will automatically make it miss. And the other characters are protected by ribbons. So we are mixing a Dragon Fang and a potion. That's Dragon Power. It increases your battle level by 20, so it goes fast. Then we are Mimicking. Mimic a mix will do the same effect without consuming any material. So that's perfect. Since we are out of Dragon Fangs, we are now mixing Revivifies and Antidotes to do Samson's Power. This increases your battle level by 10 instead of 20. That's basically the same as Dragon Power, just slightly slower, but we always have the materials for Samson's Power. Now we are mixing Revivifies and Eye Drop. This does Elemental Power. This increases all the elemental damage you do, and specifically it's the only way in the game to increase your water elemental damage. And that's great because we have Leviathan with X magic. So it's going to be slightly slower than Gildas strat. Oh, I mean the freelancers are going to use Gildas. So yeah, now I think we are set. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Elemental Power can actually stack, contrary to the weapons that usually boost elements, like Wizard Rod, Air Knife, those cannot stack. But mixing Elemental Power, this can actually stack. And that's something I like to do when I use Spellblade. So what you want to pay attention for against 3x death, you don't want to push the last phase and not have any character ready to act. Because in that phase, 3x death will spam Meteor and you want to avoid it. So now, WHY. What is Y? And that's the transition to the final boss, Neo X Death. So as I mentioned a few times, Neo X Death has 4 enemies, 4 parts. The front part is Flex Death. He will do physical attacks. The second part, top left, is Grand Cross. It will sometimes in a cycle cast Grand Cross. This attack will randomly inflict random status to your party. Obviously, if you have a ribbon, you are kinda protected, but ribbon does not protect against Berserk or Zombie, so you can still get a game over with for ribbon users. The lower right part is Almagest. If you leave it alive too long, it will cast Almagest. That's a very powerful poly-elemental attack to all targets, and it will inflict sap. So what we want generally is to have what we call Almagest HP, which is slightly over 1700. So here, if Almagest goes out, we are wiped. And finally, the leftmost part, which we call the back part, we'll usually just do Delta Attack, which petrifies you, or just a few level 5 elemental spells. But the thing with this part is that it has the most HP of the bunch, with 65,000 HP, but it's also not heavy, so you can insta-kill it with Magic Lamp Odin, if you ever need to. And that's time! Well, GG's! GG Alastair! Yeah, that's a little more original than just using the guild toss strat, where you just do 1-9 every time. So, yep. And that's still easier than how we do that in the 4-job tournament, because currently there's also a tournament in our community called the 4-job draft tournament. Both runners draft a set of job, before generating the seed, and the need to use those 4 jobs in a 4-job restricted format. And let's say Ned is slightly harder in that case. So, yep, that was Final Fantasy V Career Day standout settings. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want more information about Career Day, we can certainly give you a few links. Like, the link to the actual randomizer can be found here. It's been developed by Big Bridge Studios. There is a link to a wiki on the page if you want more information. We do have a community Discord server if you want it also. You can ask a lot of questions there. So, yeah. Also, obviously, do not forget, there are a lot of other runs in this marathon. It's the Randothon marathon from Randomania. There are a lot of randomizer runs, a lot of incentives as well, if you want to donate. All of it is done for the National Association for Mental Illness, NAMI, so you can get those donations going for the charity.
Yep. Now that Alastair's hands are free, we've got their $5 donations, so thank you very much.
All right, I believe the next run is I Told You 2. And it's actually a race between Arborelia and Phenolicut. So stay tuned for the next one.
Alright, actually, now that OBS is unmuted, can people hear me?
Yes. I mean, we can hear you as well.
Yeah, but yeah, that's probably why people couldn't hear me before. But yeah, just thanks for having me. Nami's a great cause, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of the marathon.
Yep, we do have It'll Do 2 up next, a race between Arborelia and Flannel Cat, and I'll be handing the hosting keys off to Aerodyne in a second.